Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the JACKOCAR Cup Series and round 6. And it's live from Budapest in Hungary. And tonight it's very exciting. We have 6 jokers, over a quarter of the grid. 6 jokers, unbelievable. But what's more impressive tonight, don't know how I've done it. I've managed to persuade the one and only Yuri Hazelager for his commentary debut. Mr. Hazelager, welcome to the booth. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. Not as nervous as you, though. I do know that.
No, I guess not. But, exciting times ahead, innit?
Absolutely. Boss, we've got a second here. Let's remind ourselves of the drivers that are on Jokers this evening. They are none of the big names, actually. Gareth Hall is the biggest of the names, followed by Ben Harrott, Pete Knighton, Jess Ball, Leroy, and Danny Quinn. So 6 jokers. I mean, what are you expecting, Yuri, from this? We saw Quinn almost win the Joker here a couple of weeks ago. But out of those 6, who do you expect to have the best shot at winning the race tonight?
From the Jokers, well, then I think, even though he is self-proclaimed fastest of Team Speed, it's going to be between Pete and Leroy.
Yeah.
Although you would expect that Quinn has some inside knowledge with what not to do, seeing as his Joker didn't quite work out the first time in Kia Series. So
Quinn very nearly got it done. I think he was let down by that late safety car, wasn't he? That was the issue.
But also the tire strategy put him on the back foot a bit, starting on those hard tires.
Yep.
Meaning that true. If you got around him, you could create a gap and create a window and a space to capitalize on anything that happened.
It didn't quite work out. Of course, it was Matt Lester who actually went on to win that. That was a regular 2-stopping driver. As we see Tez emerge from the pit lane, first car out on track. We're becoming very used to this. He seems to have a habit of, if he's not going to win the race, he's not interested in finishing and scoring points. Worked out for him last season in Austria when he went from 20th to 7th in the standings, got himself into the playoffs. But can he have a good run tonight? He is, once again, last in the standings, sits on 0 points, does the man from the Netherlands. One of your fellow countrymen. How do you, or do you rate Tez at all as a driver? I don't suppose you've had much to do with him, have you?
No. Had a few races together, and he's almost all the time been quicker than me, so... but as you say, it's a bit of a hit or miss. If he's not in for a good result, he rather retires than finishes and score points.
Yeah, weird one. Even if it's like 2 corners from the end, or 2 laps from the end, he seems to do that. But let's see, Mr. Hazelager, if he can put it all together. This the Hungary circuit is made up of 14 turns, of which this is turn 14. A track which has seen first wins for the likes of Esteban Ocon, Jenson Button, Fernando Alonso. But Tez gets qualifying underway then in Hungary. We are now over the halfway point of the Cup Series, and Season 7 into Turn 1 comes Tez. This is the first DRS zone of the lap as he makes his way down to what is a very treacherous Turn 2. A couple of different lines you can take through here. You often see cars make contact as the exits all tighten up. Then into Turn 3, a fast sweeping right, but almost as good as Turn 4 as Tez moves it to the left. And then Turn 5, you've got those auto spin curb on the right, easy to catch yourself out, and into the heaviest braking zone onto the track. Turn 6 into 7, that's a chicane. And this is where Danny Quinn went wide 2 weeks ago and almost took me out here as well in Turn 8. But we don't talk about that. Otherwise, I'd have won the race and been in the playoffs myself, wouldn't I? A bit like yourself. Tez on his way down then to Turn 12. Just 2 corners to go. It's looked a good lap so far. Of course, not favoured by going out early. Track evolution, not his friend. But finally then, Turn 14. It's looking good for the Dutchman. Gets on the power. keeps it inside the white lines just about and sets a very reasonable 1 minute 16.7 to get qualifying underway. Yuri, we move to another fellow countryman of yours in Michel Goris, when I can find his name.
From one Dutchman, we go to another Dutchman in the first rookie that hits the track today. He has been on quite a decent lap. Not too bad, not too great either. I like the livery of the...
That's lovely.
That's a lovely livery. Just 2 corners to go. And now the final corner, which he takes. Okay. On the power. To DRS open him to the line. Just 3 tenths off of teeth. I don't think you can be too sad with that.
Very respectable. As we see OKK without a front wing, it is worth mentioning Michel took the opening pole of the season in China. Shared the front row with Kyle. Hasn't quite got back to that level since, but of course that was a rain-affected race. Doing reasonably okay as Michel in his rookie season. As for someone who isn't in their rookie season, OKK still yet to get it together. His Joker was ruined earlier this season and still sits very low down in the points rankings. He is 18th. 8 points for OKK. So we will move on then to Sullivan Lewis. Again, once I find his name. He spun as well and invalidated his lap, so it's not going too well.
That's great stuff
yeah.
from the two there.
Let's give Danny Quinn then his moment in the sun, Yuri.
And then entire lap as well, as he enters the second DRS part of the lap, going into turn 2. Hooks the curve quite nicely. Lets the car run out just far enough and goes on to the next part. In the first sector, as we enter the second sector, misses the apex and runs wide, but keeps it valid, luckily enough.
Yep.
You don't want to touch that curb too much, as it'll spin to you, and you don't want to touch these curves too much either, as it causes some serious damage. And he's lost it as well.
Like that, yeah. Got on the accelerator too quickly afterwards as well.
Keeps it valid though, so won't start to the back too far, but yeah. No, this is something, he's just overcooked the tires now.
Yeah, okay, well, we've seen enough of Quinn. Where did he qualify in the Kia series? I can't remember.
You mean this weekend or this week? Or?
Yeah, in Kia a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, I wouldn't know from the top of my head.
Same. It's not my tier. You set me up nicely there. Here's Connor then. On the run up to turn 4. He does hit the curb and keeps it valid. That's a good line from Connor. But can he do a better job than Quinn? We'll find out in a couple of seconds when we see the exit the chicane here. This is turn 6 and 7. And gets through it nicely. I tell you what, Connor has improved a lot in the last couple of weeks. Quinn set a 1:37.2, by the way. As OKK also set a 1:41.1, but we missed that. But yeah, Connor slowly starting to master the traction on this game. We're only a couple months away from a new game, so better late than never. Can he have a late run at maybe the chase or even get a race win this season? He has never finished higher than 4th in a Cup Series race. He has been to a Championship 5 in the Kia Series, though, as he comes onto the main straight. DRS open. Connor, it's P1. It's a 16.5. He knocks Tez off the top. And we move on to his fellow teammate, Mike Kelterborn, who I'm sure, Yuri, is not the most popular name in the Team Speed Camp.
Definitely not one of the most popular names in my personal opinion, but here we are, commentating over his lap. Keeps it valid and keeps it pointing the right direction so far. He's doing a better job than Danny Quinn has. He's doing a better job. Oh, well.
Never mind.
I think I'll shut up then.
I was going to come in with a stat. It's easy to forget that Mike, with his single pole position, that was the first ever pole we ever saw in JACKOCAR back in Australia 106 races ago, would you believe?
Got an answer for you. In the Kia Series race, Quinn went 8th fastest.
Okay, so middle of the grid then.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do now is we're going to move away from Mike, who's about to finish his lap, and put you on board with Leroy, your brother, who's invalidated, so you can't even commentate over your brother. but you can take the mick out of him.
Well, apparently there's some mic issues.
Really?
Yeah. Just got a word from Matt, so I'll have a look on my.
Okay. So until you get that sorted, you're stuck with me, folks. Here goes Leroy setting his invalidated lap. Of course, he will be no higher than 12th. But we'll move on then to Jess Ball. Her 102nd JACKOCAR start. 51 in Kia, 52 in the Cup Series. The blue and yellow is back out as she rounds turn 13. And can Jess get her name in amongst the front runners? She comes out of that final turn. DRS open once again up to the line. It's going to be good enough for P4. Decent lap for Jess. And next up, Kyle Smith. Back after driving his bus last week. Of course, he started P2 in China at the start of the season. Of course, a famous big name from years gone by in JACKOCAR, looking to re-find his form. Can he do it here in Hungary? 11 race wins, matched only 2 days ago by co-commentator Jori Haselager. Although that is somewhat tainted, seeing as 10 of those come in the Kia series, so they don't count, do they? You can't hear you, Jori. To the line then comes Kyle Smith, and he puts it P3. So then, where are we? Pete Knighton is the next man out. One of the jokers.
So, is this better then?
Oh, you're a lot louder. You'll have to ask the chat.
Well, I'll ask the chat.
Chat, can you hear Jori? That's my question to you as we watch Pete through Sector 2, trying to set the Hungarian times alight. I love that corner there, turn 10, fast right. When you get it right, it's one of the best corners on the calendar. And of course, the last time Pete won a race, 98 races ago, here in Hungary. No, that's a lie. That was his first of 3, wasn't it? That was 100 races ago since he got his first ever win in JACKOCAR. Would you believe that? Up to the line, Pete Knighton. It's P1, a new benchmark. Goes 4/10 clear of Connor. 3-time pole sitter is Pete Knighton. As we move on to Kieran Spears, you're going to hand over to you if the people can hear you.
Yeah, apparently they can. Let me find Kieran. Not
He's
really
there.
Someone I'd like to commentate on, Kieran Spears. Although he is the champion, reigning champion, but
Doesn't show
entering
it, does
the
he?
third sector. No, clearly not. Such a wash driver. You might say that he's being held up a bit by Jordan there, but any good driver would work around those circumstances and get the job done. So Kieran will be going to P1 if he's as good as he says he is, which he isn't. And he's quite frustrated with that, wiggling his car over the line.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We do expect better from Kieran. I did call in the Cup Series chat earlier that if Ben Shaw gets pole today, he's within 2 of the record. If Jamie Wright gets pole today, he has the outright record. Of course, level with Arnold at the moment. But one thing we won't see is Kieran getting pole. So nice to see I've called that one correctly. As we're on board here with the midfield man who has done a purple Sector 2, apparently, in his purple and blue car. I think I said this last week. It's a livery that Owen Wyatt would be proud of. Owen could never come up with anything as good as this. Turn 14 then for Ben Harrop. Driver of the 55 car. What can he do? His actual was very good, actually. His exit there was very tight. He didn't use any of the apex on the outside of turn 14.
Maybe not, but he puts himself right next to his fellow Joker, so that's good. That is good indeed.
Looking for
As
Jordan,
we
he's
move
right at the
to
bottom.
Jordan, yeah. And he's already in the final corner, so missed a lot of that lap. Where can he put his car? P6. Just
P6.
between Kyle and Jordan.
Still waiting for Jordan to get his first win in the series, but it is coming. I promise you that.
It is long overdue.
Very long overdue. 89 or 90 race start, something like that for Jordan. Someone in their 56 start is the driver of the 81 car. Gets a little bit loose out of turn 5 there. Jamie Griffiths 2 race wins to his name, that famous one in Monza, and then of course Silverstone last season. Very much the driver, the most improved driver of the season so far. Consider him very much a front runner these days. Through turn 10 and down towards turn 11 then for Jamie Griffiths. A little bit of purple on that rear wing. It seems to almost work with the blue and white. I'm not sure what he's trying to replicate there. Sort of maybe mid-2000s Williams. But into turn 14 he comes then. Jamie Griffiths, who's never been on pole in the Cup Series, keeps it valid on the exit and goes P3, a decent enough lap. As we move on then to Casper Klein.
Who has stationary coming out of turn 4.
Yeah. And Casper has been on pole before. He won't be today. 3 times in the past. Big fan of his livery, though. Said this last week. It's a lovely looking car.
Yeah, colours work really well together.
But,
and the helmet to match the car.
Yeah, there you go. There's the
onboard view. Not the gloves, though.
Oh, I quite like it.
It's just a shame that he spun.
Absolutely. We'll actually move away from Casper and look at Jamie Wright so that you can commentate the man behind him. Jamie Wright on his way up to turn 4. Not bad for a pad user. Of course, this man on record, statistically the best driver in JACKOCAR history. 2 championships, 19 wins, 16 poles. Searching for a 17th here, but he's invalidated once again. How many times this season are we going to see Jamie Wright fall by the wayside? Unbelievable from him, but it does mean we get to watch the fastest man in team speed, Jori Haslager.
Yeah, well, this is time for some payback. Well, payback. He done profiling on me, so it's time to profile the driver that we're currently watching, Gareth Hall. He aspires to be just as good as Max Verstappen, but he needs the likes of Leroy, Pete and Kieran to win a race in JACKOCAR Cup Series. He is the self-proclaimed fastest driver of Team Speed, even though he has won less championships across both tiers than 3 other drivers of the team, 9 wins less than yours truly, and less P5 appearances than 5 drivers of his team. Also, apparently, he is banned from the local pool because the S fell off his Speedo. What can he do, though, as he goes towards the line? Gareth Hall goes 6th fastest and moves in between Thies and Kyle.
And what would have ruined everything you just said is if he banged it on pole. But that was very funny.
Or invalidated that we had to move on.
Yeah. Oh well, as we move on to someone who might put it on pole. He has done 3 times in the past, but he's invalidated again. He's done a Jamie Wright. Jake O'Sullivan will be joining his teammate at the back of the grid. What it does is it puts the pressure on Speed Iceman, who we're going to get the whole lap with. So we'll go on board for this then. 13 times on pole position. 1 more here puts him on 14, and as I said just now, 2 away from the record, which is currently shared by Jamie Wright and Arnaud de Grief. Of course, if you listened to the Ben Shaw podcast earlier, Arnaud de Grief very much looking at returning to the Cup Series next season, season 8. Of course, the Championship 5 will be in Las Vegas then. That'll be turn 4 and then into turn 5 then for Ben Shaw. If he fails to put this on pole, it'll be Pete Knighton, of all names, returning to the top of a JACKOCAR leaderboard, something we have not seen for 98 races. And that was coming off the back of a streak of 3 race wins in a row back in season 1. Of course, Pete Knighton, the original JACKOCAR champion, but Ben has hooked this lap up beautifully so far. Down into turn 11 he comes as we see Gareth retire from the session. Notoriously not a good qualifier. Turn 12, 13 even for Ben. 1 more corner to go. Is it going to be a massive margin like it was last week? Turn 14, the Iceman hooks it up. And DRS open and to the line. It's P1 again. And it's 4 tenths clear of teammate Pete Knighton. But crucially, Pete is on a joker. And look at the midfield man up in P3 as well. That was a brilliant qualifying session. But it is who you would expect to be on top once again. The driver of the number 29 car, Ben Shaw.
Absolutely spot on there with your what you expect of Ben. It's definitely interesting looking at the fact that there's 2 jokers right behind him, so he's got to create that gap if there's no safety cars. I heard earlier that he's hoping on a no safety car race so that he has to chase the the jokers down, which he thinks will be very interesting to watch. And you have to agree with him on that.
Yep. And what is now an ongoing joke inside the Cup Series chat, himself, Jake and Jamie Wright, all the three of them have not managed to have a freeway battle this season. I think it keeps getting promised, and then one will have a bad qualifying session or a crash early on, and we do not get to see him fight it out. But I think we've got enough entertainment in store. Looking at this grid, I mean, that's an upside down grid if I've ever seen it be there. Is Ben. So yeah, Iceman leading the way. It was a 3/10 gap, by the way, to Pete, but very good qualifying from him. And Ben Harrett in P3. Jamie Griffiths, I guess he is where you'd expect him to be, but Connor staying improved as ever over the last 3 weeks. Tez up there, Gareth, the other joker, Kyle, Jordan, Michelle Goris. He's not a joker, is he? No. Kieran down in P11. Jess is a joker. She's 12th. 13th for Casper. MK Bourne 14th. Quinn, who was a joker here 2 weeks ago, is 15th, and I've run out of time. But never mind. You know, it's very hard to do this commentating, I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. As you say, it's very impressive from the guy who starts P5. His only description of this game is basically one word, and it's shit. He still puts it on P5, which is very impressive indeed.
Yeah, I can tell you're Dutch because we're not actually allowed to swear, I don't think, but it's fine. We can let that one slide.
My apologies to all you British.
To all the snowflakes out there.
Yep.
Connor Byers, you mentioned him. His season started as DNF. Then he had a race ban, but he's come back with 2 P8 finishes in a row, which is better than what he has been getting, certainly in recent seasons. But P5, that's his best qualifying of the season, I want to say. I will confirm that. No, he's qualified 4th this season as well. Never mind. But we will do a proper rundown of the cars on the formation lap. Ben has threatened us with a very fast formation lap, so we'll see if he sticks to his word. Here the cars are then on the grid for the 106th Cup Series race, and Iceman will lead them away with Pete Knighton.
Of course, Ben will do that because he knows that his tires will only need to make 3 laps, whilst the others will need to make at least 10.
Absolutely. In fact, before I get pestered to put the tyres on, there you are, Mr. Rosamond, because I know you're going to ask. So let's look at the jokers here. 6 of them, so this could take some time. Pete Knighton on the mediums. Ben Harrett also on the mediums. Further down, we have Gareth, who's gone hards. Interesting. And then Jess, who has also gone hards. Quinn on the mediums. And the other one, your brother, down in P18 on the mediums. So none of them on the softs, which you would expect. So they should, in theory, be faster at the end. But the interesting one for me is, excuse my wind, is Gareth in P7 on the hards. If he can make that tyre work in the first stage, then I think he is in with a very good shout of winning this race. Stage points tonight are lap 8 and lap 17. And just a quick rundown once again. It is Iceman who has delivered a very fast formation lap. Drivers behind have to be within 10 car lengths, which Pete is just about. And it's Ben Harrett, Jamie Griffiths, Connor Byers, Tez Peakstock, Gareth Hall, Kyle Smith, Jordan Lane, Michelle Goris, Kieran Spears, the reigning champion down in P11, Jess Ball, Casper Klein, Mike Kelterborn, Danny Quinn, almost won here 2 weeks ago, don't forget that. Michael Okeke, Jamie Wright, 2-time champion, Leroy Hazelhager, Kia Series champion from last season, Risky Racer, Sullivan Lewis, and Jake O'Sullivan to bring up the rear of the grid. Okeke gets himself disqualified. There you go. Are you ready for this?
I am.
Because I am.
I am indeed.
And I think the chat are as well. It's 4 lights and 5 lights. And JACKOCAR in Hungary is go now. Awful game. But who gets away the best? It's Ben Shaw, Pete Knighton, is under attack from Jamie Griffiths already, and Ben Harrett looking to make a move on his namesake into turn 1, but it's Jamie Griffiths who's made the best impression on the start. Ben Harrett crucially ahead of Pete Knighton, who gets a little bit squirrely out of turn 1 but keeps it straight for now. Kyle up to P5. What a fantastic start right there. He's now on the inside of Pete, who'll become the outside, so Pete will maintain that position. Changes further back, but it seems to be fairly clean otherwise. Casper on the grass as Ben leads the field through turn 4, and into 5 they go. Casper up the inside of what I believe was Gareth Hall, and Connor Byers has only lost the 1 position, so good start for him. Gareth has fallen down 5 positions on that start, and there's yellow flags further back. Who's it for? Jess Bull and Leroy Haslager, who has a 5-second penalty as he has collected
Leroy and Quinn. And as you mentioned out, Carl had an amazing start. He was up the pit wall within a couple of yards after his getaway, which is really impressive from Carl, that start.
Yeah, I'd say someone else. Sorry, someone else who had a good start is Jake O'Sullivan, who went from 20th to 12th, and we are now at the end of lap 1.
And he'll most likely get another spot, as he is all over Gareth right here. He tucks in the slipstream as Gareth goes defensive, but with those hard tires, it's not going to work.
No.
Nope.
Gareth, I think he put up a valiant effort trying to hold him off, but Jake is the faster driver on those soft tyres. So up into 11th he goes. Risky getting past 2-time champion as well. Look at this in the turn 2. Risky holds on. A little bit of history here. But I think Jamie Wright has had to concede this time. Let's go up the grid then. Kieran has made up 1 position. Casper's had a fairly decent start, as has Michelle. Tez has dropped the 1 place. But they all just seem to be following in a line for the moment then. So we expect the soft runners to come in lap 3, lap 4. Which means you would put your money on Jamie Griffiths winning this stage. MK Bourne has had his struggles further back. No damage on that car. As Catchman Jake has made another move on Kieran here. Kieran trying to stick his nose in up the inside. Does well to not make contact, but Jake is on a bit of a mission. And completes the move. Iceman, fastest lap. Yellow flags further back. It's Pete Knight and he's gone around. He's spun on the main straight. Unbelievable luck for the speed driver.
It is Speed and Jamie who might have touched coming out of the final corner. And MK Bourne who probably got an illegal overtake. It's a virtual safety car, Jacko.
Yes, it is. So Pete,
who
was in a good position. Go on.
Meanwhile, at the back, I had a look at Quinn and Leroy. Leroy made a move around the outside of turn 5, but it was rather easy because Quinn has end plate damage on the right side of the car.
Yeah, took the words right out of my mouth as I spotted that. Of course, Leroy with a 5-second penalty, which he will serve. The field, however, is not too drastically spread out. I mean, they're in turns 7 and 2 is how far they are spread across. Iceman with a 4-second lead. He needs to extend that as much as possible. Of course, having to make the extra stop. So Ben Harrett is a genuine threat as the green flags are back out, and Tez was looking at the back of Connor. I think he's going to make a move here as well. Look at this. Down into turn 11. Connor goes defensive, but Tez will send it up the inside. You know he will. What a move that is. Up for P4 for the Dutchman. Caught Connor napping on the restart. That was fantastic. And now you've got Michel Goris behind, trying to hold off Jake O'Sullivan, who's still making positions up as we see our first pitters. These are all mandatory stops. Jake O'Sullivan is now P5 after 3 laps. That's a brilliant start for him. Of course, Ben Shaw pitted as well, the race leader. So the midfield man is the top of the field. Tez has spun.
Yeah, a lot of early stops as you would expect. Gonna get rid of these tires and cover yourself up for this safety car trap that you might accidentally fall into. It's a lot of people using it. And funnily enough, interestingly enough, I should say, Leroy does not. He's usually one of the guys who pits rather soon, and he is only 6 tenths ahead of Iceman.
Yes, he is. And it only takes something as silly as the spin from Tez to bring out a safety car as well. If you remember back to the Season 4 Championship 5, Kieran just brushing the wall on the inside, and that brought a safety car out. In fact, we're seeing Tez go for another spin. He's having all sorts of problems at the moment, and out the way goes through Leroy and Jess. It's almost contact there. Jess now off the road. Might have spooked her a little bit, seeing Tez facing the wrong way, as they all gather themselves up and get going once again. So Tez, just like Pete, has fallen from a good position. Jake O'Sullivan, who got to within a second of the race lead, now pits, and he's had a fantastic start, so he's very much in with a shout of winning this race should the Jokers fail to convert their one-stop strategy. In fact, Tez will pit here. The two-stop is the faster route around the Hungary ring, but of course it doesn't mean the one-stop is impossible.
It all depends on where you come out in traffic, because it is not that easy to overtake here, of course. So you have to make quick work of your rivals, which Ben has already done. He got himself in front of Leroy, and now has a 4.4 second gap to the first Joker on his list to overtake, which is Pete.
Yeah, so even with Pete's spin here that he had just now, it doesn't mean his race is over. It just means it's slightly more difficult. Of course, the problem for Pete is Ben Harrott and Gareth Hall are first and third, and what are they? 10 seconds or so up the road. So, say again?
It makes sense that Leroy hasn't pit because he's a Joker, of course.
Oh, of course, yes. You've reminded ourselves. You reminded both of us there with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Pete, he needs to close the gap on first and third without the guy behind him catching him up, as we see Risky make a stop now. But I have to say, Ben Harrott is doing a fantastic job. We've said it many times before. He is due a race win. He will disagree, but Ben Harrott, in his 49th Cup Series start, leads the way. Into turn 3 he goes.
It appears that Pete has given up on the Joker, and I guess I know why. He's changing his wing.
Yep. So, could work out for him, because if he can get those hards to the end, then it could come back into his hands, as we see Tez retire in the pit lane, so there'll be no safety car. But just like we alluded to in qualifying, yeah, no points yet again for the Dutchman. As we alluded to in qualifying, if he's not winning, he is retiring. Ricky Bobby style. If you ain't first, you're last. And that's how Tez sees it. He is very much last in this race and last in the Cup Series standings. Ben Harrott, meanwhile, maintains his 3.5 second lead to Kieran. And Gareth is making those hard tyres work. Of course, the driver of interest for these guys is Iceman down in P7. As we see MK Bourne, there's a car off the road. I think it's Tez's retire car, isn't it?
That's Tez.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And that now disappears, and we are back to green flag racing.
It's a shame that MK Bourne was pitting, because Casper was lining him up very nicely for a move. As Jake and Leroy starts fighting.
In fact, Jake, as we join them, looks like he's got the move done already. And he has indeed. So Leroy, of course, with the one stop to go, but he is now officially behind Jake. They're both with one stop remaining. And let's keep in mind at the end of the next lap is the first stage point. In fact, Ben Harrott has extended his lead over Kieran. Iceman has made his way back to P5. In fact, we could end up with the battle we always wanted, with him and Jake very close on the circuit. One safety car brings them all together. Jamie Wright down in P11. They are the big three names of the tier. Jamie not enjoying the circuit as much, but there's Jess with a queue behind her, and Risky is the leader of that queue. Do we expect a move here? Risky to the right. OKK, will he follow suit? No, he won't.
Yes, he will.
Jess lets him go anyway, and through goes Jordan as well, as we see Kieran pit. just quickly move the intervals to stops. So here you can see Jess and Leroy both yet to stop. They are jokers, as are Gareth and Ben leading the way. Casper, interestingly enough, hasn't stopped either. So I'm not sure what his strategy is, but we are now at the end of stage 1, end of this lap.
Leroy's off. He got pushed on the curb by Kyle. And that is
a safety car. So, and just this Quinn is the only car that's going to have to pass the safety car all the way here. So safety car will pull off to the right at the exit of turn 1 and let Quinn go through. Everybody on the lead lap, which is good. Through goes Quinn. So let's look at this for a second then, Yuri. The race is not ruined for Ben Harrett or Gareth Hall.
Because luckily for them, they will have at least Casper between them for 1 lap.
Mm-hmm.
1 lap at least. And what was interesting, which is, well, kind of helped but kind of ruined, who is most impressive this race is definitely Kajman. He was slowly reeling in Ben by a few tenths a lap. So I was looking forward very much to that fight, and it seems that we'll be getting that sooner than we expected.
Absolutely, and the man behind those is Kyle, followed closely by Connor, who, if you take the 2 jokers away leading the race, is net P4.
Yeah.
But that's not strictly true, because they are jokers, aren't they? So it is the net P6 for Connor.
Leroy sacrifices the joker to get rid of his 5-second time penalty.
Clever move. You see, in this race was not going the way he wanted it to. So you are better off changing your strategy and getting yourself back in the race. Get as many points as possible. You'll get another joker next season.
And he fits the softs.
I imagine he's going to... Excuse me. He's going to do a short shoot all the way up to the end of stage 2, perhaps. Or... Yeah, because that's the next mandatory window, but it doesn't apply to him, does it?
A bit of a stretch, though. Oh yeah, of course.
Lap.
Of course.
Is it lap 18?
Yeah, it is lap 18.
That's lap 17.
My bad.
My bad as well. So, race also not over for Jess. Nobody, with the exception of Pete Knighton, has completed their strategy. Quinn as well, but he is on... Oh no, he's on the hard tyre. In fact, let me get this back to tyres. So yeah, Quinn and Pete, they are completed. They are good to the end, as is Leroy, but obviously he won't get those softs to the end. So he has thrown the joker out. Quinn and Pete very much on course to get to the end at least. You got Jess, who finds herself in the midfield on the hard tyre, so race is still on for her. You see overtaking... Oh no, it's OKK pitting. And then everybody else has to make 1 mandatory stop, with the exception of Ben and Gareth, who lead this race.
Casper also needs to make 2 more stops.
Yeah, so I think Casper is the man who's lost out the most here.
Yes. Spot on.
But was running very well. I'm surprised he left it so long. See if we can get some stats for you. Ben Harrett led 14 laps in his career up to this point today. He's led since the end of lap 3. It's another 7. 21 laps led now all time for Ben Harrett. And wins his 3rd ever stage. Will he be a factor at the end?
It most certainly is looking good.
Indeed. The field now all bunched up, all 19 of them. Of course, no Tez, as ever, on 0 points. OKK joins up behind Leroy, and the safety car will come in. So hopefully Ben Harrett has done his homework and knows where the restart zone is. The next stage point is at the end of lap 17. And there's 4 jokers still in contention to win this race, as well as a very rapid Iceman and an even more rapid Jake O'Sullivan. But this is JACKOCAR. And anybody can win as we go on board with Ben Harrott for the restart here in Hungary. It is the DRS activation board on the right-hand side. You'll see it, the line that goes across the track as he controls the field. The end of lap 10 then. Ben Harrott has control and can go right now. And he pulls away from Gareth Hall. But Gareth, I think, has got enough heat in those tyres to just about stay with Ben. Will he go for a lunge into turn 1? No, he won't. He plays it sensibly. But look at Jake O'Sullivan up the inside. Beautiful driving. Moves up to P3 and ahead of Iceman, who's still stuck behind Casper. Ben Harrott into turn 2, holding on for now. He's doing a brilliant job of this race so far. And is pulling away from Gareth. There's yellow flags further back. It's OKK in the wars once again. What a shame for him. Does he have any damage on that car? No, he doesn't. Potential side pod damage. But Gareth now, how will he deal with Jake? Of course, this is now a straight-out shootout for the race win. And that's speed versus ART, with speed and ART behind them once you get rid of Casper. Ben Shaw actually really struggling with Casper here on those old medium tyres. He is not going to let Ben through. They know Ben Harrott's in position here. Little tap from behind there. Ben letting Casper know he's there. Finland versus England. And we see Jake ahead finally get through on Gareth. Around the outside goes Ben Shaw. Can he pull this move off? Casper will now, or will not pit because he can't. And Kyle follows him through. Quinn's had a moment further down.
He has indeed, and that demotes him to the last position. Did he just reverse into the wall?
He did indeed.
That might be rear wing or diffuser damage. Yeah, Jake just really picked up from where he left off from the start of the race with the restart now, really gaining a lot of speed, positions and a lot of pace early on in this after this restart. And the same can be said for Kyle, who tried to go with him, but unfortunately didn't make it. The field now tries to settle into their rhythm again. It is Iceman with a little excursion up ahead, as both Ben and Jake have left Gareth behind on his older, harder tyres.
Yeah, I see Connor Byers actually lost out on the restart as all his ART teammates went forward. But there's now a queue developing behind Gareth. And Iceman is being allowed through. You like to see that, don't you, Yori? Gareth will not let Casper through, though. Oh, you like to see it.
It just points out that Gareth clearly isn't the fastest driver in team speed.
Clip that one for later. As he did an excellent job of keeping Casper behind there. Because they were all very much line astern.
And he has to, because Gareth doesn't have the pace to catch Jake at this moment, but maybe Ben will.
Yeah, in fact, what will...
As Jake will take the lead of the race into turn 1 with a simple but nice move.
I imagine that was well orchestrated in the ART chat. Of course, if it comes back to him later on, I'm sure Jake will let Ben get his first JACKOCAR win. You can sense it coming. It's one of those days. Yep. Oh, and Casper's lost it on the run up to turn 4.
Oh, and then you have to just sit there and wait for the entire field to come by.
Yeah, there's a small gap here, but you've got to be quick. What a shame. He got loose on the exit of 3, and it just threw the car into the outside wall. The track stays green, though, so Casper's race has gone from bad to worse. What a shame for the Finn, because he had been driving really well, but when you're pit stop down, you're fighting uphill all the time. What a shame for him. Leroy and Quinn also not having very good restarts as they are detached from the main peloton of the field.
Leroy pitted again for hard tyres.
Quinn has crashed on track.
Turn 4, safety car.
Safety car. And Ben Harrott is already in the pit lane. Massive. Massive move for Ben Harrott.
Is that legit?
Oh,
let me have a look.
Okay, this is the JACKOCAR coming out then for the first time in the Cup Series. We will confirm if Ben Harrott's stop was legal. It is currently under review.
He was committed, yes.
He was committed. Was Jamie Griffiths, Risky, and Casper commit? Casper definitely not. I would imagine Risky would have been very close to it. Jamie Griffiths as well, the other one we're interested in.
I couldn't tell you for sure because of the commitment point.
Okay. So just
I'll put question marks behind their names. There being Jamie, Risky, and
Casper, but don't worry about Casper. He was definitely non-mandatory there.
Okay.
And that's Jamie Griffiths, not Jamie Wright. Jamie Griffiths actually finds himself P15. It's good news for Leroy, who, as I was saying right before the Danny Quinn crash, was detached from the main group. He gets a second chance at bunching up with everybody. But with Ben Harrett's stop confirmed as legitimate, he is very much in the box seat to win this race. The only catch with that is the man in P10, Mr. Pete Knighton, looking for a first win in a 98 race drought. He is good to the end. Ben Harrett, in fact. Oh no, sorry, it's MK Bourne that's pitting. Yeah, Ben Harrett. It's just teeing up to be one of those magic JACKOCAR nights. Everything going his way, providing he can get past Pete. Yeah.
As Sully pits, so easy peasy for Ben Harrett. He's got MK Bourne and OKK straight ahead of him as well, so you don't expect them to make his life very hard.
Not at all. And Pete will have the help of Kieran ahead of him, but there's Jordan in between. Of course, Connor recovers to P7. Let's go back then to the stops. Gareth. Race not as in a good position as it was under the last safety car, but it doesn't mean race over. He needs another well-timed stop, and he'll be back in it. We do see two familiar faces at the front, but everybody from Jake down to Jordan, they all have to stop again. And then you have Pete, who is a net race leader on his Joker. OKK, P11, MK Bourne, P12, Ben Harrett, net P2 as it stands. Jess needs to make her one and only stop still. Jamie Griffiths, Leroy, his Joker is out the window. Casper still needs to pit twice, and Risky Racer, I'm not sure on his current situation, but it's not good down in P18. We see Quinn and Tez are out of this race, but Hungary is about to get going once again. It's been good so far. We're not even at the halfway point. This time, Jake O'Sullivan will lead the field round. Ben Shaw said in his stream that Jake is one of the best and worst people to race against, purely because he's always there. And they found themselves on track once again on lap 15 here in Hungary. Jake building up to restart along the main straight. Let's go racing once again in Budapest, and Gareth always got the jump on his teammate. Jake gets away well. Gareth, surely he's not going to fight Ben into turn one, is he? Absolutely not. Ben will reclaim P2. Is there any damage further back? We don't have a very good camera angle, but here goes Connor through the middle of two cars. Ben Harrett just has to keep his nose clean behind. That's Michelle on the inside of Connor. A little bit of contact, but they'll get away with it. And up the hill towards turn 4 they go. Much cleaner restart this time. Looking good for Connor Byers. Oh, Michelle goes into the back of him, but he'll get away with it. No damage for either car. Kieran, P8. And what's happened to Pete Knighton? I can't find him
Pete
on my
Knighton,
screen. He's P18.
Spun on the exit of turn 1. And another spinning.
There's loads going on here.
Chicane. Yeah. With Casper, OKK, and MK Bourne. It is always something happening with the ART lot.
And Jamie Griffiths then spun across the track. Mike and Pete, we are watching this, boys. And that was always going to happen, wasn't it?
Yeah. It always was. From the camera angle, I couldn't see what happened. Who was it more to fault, but that that contact is inevitable between those two.
Yeah. There'll be an NFA. Anyway, I was going to say, Ben Harrott makes another pit stop. I was going to say he's good to the end, but
Ben Harrod has wing damage. There's
what
a
a
new nose
shame.
ready for the 65 car.
What a
And that
great
means that he
shame for
also-
Ben.
Absolutely. He was looking so good. That is so unfortunate.
So the two guys that were net P1 and P2, one gets a spin, the other gets involved in carnage. Jess is now ahead of both of them. Oh no, she's not, because Pete Knighton's there. Pete actually recovering, but he's going to need another safety car. So his race still not over, but that contact with MK Bourne, as ever, will not help. Back to the front. Sorry, see Ben, I just missed that. Ben getting past Jess into turn 2. Jake with a less than 1 second lead to Iceman, and Jamie Wright. The Three Musketeers are finally together on track for the first time this season. You've got the Season 5 champion, the 2-time regular season champion, and the 2-time JACKOCAR champion. 1, 2 and 3. As OKK picks up a penalty. Gareth still with 1 stop to go. He will pit with these guys, so he is in a net P4, being challenged closely behind by Kyle and Connor, who's still going really well. Kieran on his new wheel finds himself P7. And Michel Gorry is having a good run here, just like he did 2 weeks ago in the Kia Series. But it is a bit of a Gareth train at the moment. Still on those hard tyres. There is a stage point at the end of this lap. You expect Jake to get it. And if he does get it, he'll be the first driver to win 3 stages this season. Another playoff point to boost.
Stage was lap 17 and he's already got it right.
It was 17, so yeah. There you go then. Ignore me. Listen to the rookie in the box.
Who's this league owner again?
Oh, don't.
Who came up with these rules?
I can't even say it's not my tier. This is my tier. So yeah, congratulations then to Jake, who now leads the way in most stage wins this season. Another one that he's stolen from Iceman. Of course, he did that last week in Austin for the 2nd stage. And Ben and Jake will pit. Jamie Wright will follow them. Gareth will stay out. Now that the valuable stage point is gone, he's going to be stat padding his way to glory. He loves leading laps, doesn't he, does Gareth? Team Speed's
Yeah, but the
flagship driver.
Fastest of us all, absolutely. But you just wonder why, because everyone behind him will have those tires fitted, and if there's a safety car right now, he'll lose out again. But then again, we noticed that in Kia Series as well, that the overcut could be a thing, because you're still out there on warm tires, whilst these guys still have to get the tires up to temp.
Yep. And of course, you'll have the benefit of a quieter pit lane as well. You can always run into people going in or coming out of the pit lane, so it could work out for Gareth just yet. But Kieran, teammate, very close behind. Will he put Gareth under any sort of pressure? Gareth not very fast at the moment, despite what he calls himself.
Jacko, about that busy pit lane, look where Jake is.
Yeah.
He dropped 2 positions to Ben and Jamie.
Yes, he has. Good spot there. So, but you have to say, Jake has been the quickest of the 3 all day as he runs wide at turn 10. We see Risky coming in ahead of Jordan into the pit lane. Kieran and Michelle Goris are already there. I tell a lie. Kieran is trying to weave his way towards P1 on the run down towards turn 1. Fills the mirrors of teammate Gareth, but not this time. He's very much in the DRS though, as you see that open up on his rear wing as we head down towards turn 2. Surely not here, Kieran. You never know.
Absolutely.
He's done worse.
He has indeed. And what I find very interesting is that Gareth is such... He might not be the fastest, but he's definitely one of the smartest, because he has been leading the entire train for several laps now, but he has the most ERS. He has a whopping 40% more than Kieran.
I will just get those numbers up for you. 13% for Kieran. And 50 for Gareth.
And
I'll get rid of it.
behind those two, it is Leroy who has completed his strategy.
Yes, another good spot.
So it's 16 laps to go, 15 laps they cross the line. He will be the net leader.
Very good spot indeed. But Iceman on fresh mediums, only a few seconds behind him. And there's a safety car.
And who is now not so smart?
Oh, Leroy! Lewis Hamilton style. Just about avoids going into the pit lane. Germany 2019 vibes. He thought about
Garrett's it. In Garrett's risk to get to the softs, I can only imagine. He has now shot himself in the foot. Because that will mean that after this safety car, he'll effectively be lost.
The only saviour for Gareth at this point is we've used 3 safety cars and 1 VSC, so we'll have another safety car period to use if needed. And of course, it's never out of the question as we look at 14 laps to go. Oh, Pete, never mind. Never out of the question that you can get a safety car in these races. So Gareth will be relying on a miracle. He had a miracle in Monza last season when the fields parted ways to let him through to take that win and advance to the round of 8.
Just a shame, really, that the fastest in the team had to count on 3 team members to get him the win. But
don't let stats ruin a good day out, though. Gareth, of course, that was vengeance for Silverstone, another race he should have won last season on his Joker. Well, I wonder if he'll say this one's been taken from him. But Leroy very much... Sorry, go on.
He should play a better game then, because if this is the second time that he fell for the caution trap on his Joker.
Yeah. There you go. That's why he'll be in the commentary box when we go back to Silverstone later this season and not racing in it. He won't like hearing that.
Has he boycotted the Grand Prix?
No, he just won't make it the Championship 5 on points, will he?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Although he is currently 3rd in standings.
But being 3rd is no good if you've got playoff points when you come into the postseason. You know all about that.
Absolutely.
And those 3 guys, Iceman, J-Luke, Catchman, have all been bunched up once again. I do believe everybody... Is Jamie Griffiths on the lead lap? No.
He is indeed. He's not. No, my bad. No. He is 1 minute and 43 seconds behind the car ahead. Which is Pete, who is behind him in the pit lane.
And behind him on track as well when they rejoin. Jamie Griffiths obliged to get out the way, either by pitting or doing a Jamie right and running wide.
Yeah, if he's smart, he just runs off track somewhere.
We will follow him for a second and see how he does it. That's exactly what he's going to do. He's seen far too many JACKOCAR races. 56 now. Becoming one of the more experienced drivers. Pete thanks him, weaving side to side. So back to the front we go. Gareth Hall leads this race. And Gareth Hall, do we have any stats we can throw out there? This is his 38th start. No, that's it. There's nothing good to say about him.
Nothing else impressive happened to Gareth Hall. Absolutely, no. That's very clear.
He has had 3 DNFs in those 38 starts, though, so it's actually quite a good return. We're going to stay for another lap behind the safety car. Yeah, quite a good return on finishing races. Doesn't make you fast, though. So we'll put this to stop so you can see the situation. Gareth, Kieran. Yeah, sorry, it's just Gareth, Kieran, and I'd imagine Casper as well. All need to make their final mandatory stops. Everybody else, as we see Jamie Griffith spins off, everybody else is good to the end. Can Leroy hold off the 3 fastest guys in the league on those old hard tyres?
Yeah, those 3 guys have 7 laps fresher and also a one thick softer tire, so you have to wonder whether he can do that. It's actually the 4 behind him with that tire advantage.
Yeah.
And then even Michel behind him on 3-lap old mediums, so you have to wonder whether he's able to hold it off.
Kyle Smith.
If he runs,
go on.
If they run the same setup, which they often do, then it's going to be hard. If he has a top speed advantage, he might just pull it off.
We shall see. I imagine the safety car will be in this lap, unless Jamie Griffith is trying to get the safety car to stay out another lap. He was stopped on circuit there. It hasn't worked for him. But yeah, you say the 4 behind him. The 4th driver is Kyle Smith, who, by the way, is on a 37 race streak without a win. Of course, on his return to JACKOCAR this season, his 5th race back. And that's 37 racing weeks, not 37 races since his last win. Gareth Hall then backs him up. Kieran has lost his gap to Leroy, who's very aggressively trying to work his way into P2 before we even get going. If we go on board with Gareth, what will he do on the restart? Kieran trying to jump forward and preempt the start, but it's not worked out for him. Gareth gets away lovely, and Iceman has a problem on the restart. It's J-Luke with the advantage there, and J-Luke's going to be trying to challenge in Leroy into turn 1, but Leroy covers it off beautifully. Can Jamie get around the outside? No, he can't, and Leroy shuts the door. Jake, he has a moment on the exit. Leroy lets the 3 fast drivers through, and it now gives J-Luke the outright net position for the race win.
And
Ben Spurs. It's risky out of this race. I'm missing all the carnage.
Yeah, I saw some wing end plates flying, but that's nothing to do with Gareth and Kieran, Jamie and Jake, who all think that's great, don't mind me, we're off.
Ben Harrett and Pete Knighton having their issues as well. In fact, Ben Harrett's day has gone from possible race win to struggling to get into the top 10. As we see Michel Goris pull off the road. He was net P5. He must have some wing damage somewhere. OKK is now out of this race. And that's another safety car. So what we were saying about Gareth.
Yeah, you must be loving life when your name is Gareth Hall. You're first. You're on 23-lap old hard tires. You're on a Joker and you're yet to make your first stop.
Race is over, and that is the final safety car period as well. We lost on that lap OKK and Risky, and I think the underfloor of Michel Goris, because he was struggling. He was net P5 before that. He will pit. Still, no, he won't.
No.
Still just a bit too early for the soft tyres. I don't think this race is over. It might be. We'll see. But Leroy had an issue on the exit of turn 1. He did the hard part defending Jamie, but then put too much power down too quickly, and it sent him to the right of the track. It allowed Jamie Wright and Jake O'Sullivan to go through. Iceman, by the way, dropped down to P10 in all that carnage.
I just noticed that in there as well, indeed.
Very interesting. I'm not sure what happened there. But of course, the points leader, it won't harm how the championship looks, will it? MK Bourne and Jordan find themselves ahead of him. Connor's still going strong. Credit to him as well. Complete turnaround since he's been to Daytona. I wonder if he learnt anything there. Probably not. I just thought it'd be nice to throw out that I've been to Daytona.
But when have you not been to Daytona?
2021 because of COVID.
Fair enough, but like, you go to the Daytona for every year that it's possible.
I do my best. I still think that 2020 race was the best out of the 3 I've been to. 2021 was a bit boring anyway, I hear. Right then, recap. 16 cars left running, only 15 on the lead lap, of which, if you'd have said 20 laps ago, you would have thought it was the other way around, like the table was upside down, because Ben and Pete are now at the bottom when they were at the top. Kyle? What's happening to Kyle? Oh, we got pitters.
He pitted. So
don't rule out Kyle for a win.
Pete goes in for his 4th non-mandatory stop, by the way.
So the Joker win is out the window. He won't get playoff points.
The only one who is still possible to get the Joker win, there's 2. Wait, I haven't checked how many times Jess has stopped. So Jess, Gareth, and Leroy are Jess and Gareth are the only ones that are capable of winning the race on their Joker strategy. Although I find it hard to believe that either one will do it.
Yeah, Jess, without being rude, doesn't quite have the pace for it, and Gareth, well,
he's the only one that has
fill in the blank.
So.
Yeah, fill in the blanks. I don't want to be. I'll be even ruder.
There's a blank. There's a blank behind his name, and that's the blank of 0 stops made.
You know what? He absolutely ridicules us on Tuesday nights, Yuri. I think it's only fair that we give back.
Absolutely.
We've been known to be a charitable league, so Gareth can have a bit of abuse. Safety car in this lap. One thing he is good at is safety car restarts. But not a lot else to shout about then for the man originally from Crawley in England. I wouldn't be shouting about that either. It's too easy, isn't it? He has Kieran behind him, who also needs to make a mandatory stop, and then one of your race winners, either J-Luke or Jake, in P3 and P4. Or is it? Because you never quite know. ART could tangle, and then Leroy's back in.
ART do tend to tangle a lot.
They love a tangle.
We saw at this race as well. It is Kieran who's quite aggressive and has a lot of overlap. He can't wait to get started.
I'm not sure how legal that is. I'll have to check the rules after, but Gareth leaves him behind anyway, and it's just Jamie Wright.
It doesn't matter, yeah, because Jamie just got the jump on him because Kieran was too close to Gareth.
I also think Jamie might have had an illegal overtake as well, because he had to let Kieran back through. He held off running into turn 1 there, but...
Well, at least Ben and Carl had illegal overtakes.
Yep. We'll sit in the midfield here, where all the carnage tends to happen. And not this time. Oh, there are yellow flags. It's Jamie Griffiths getting out the way of everybody. Jess has cycled back to P15. So Iceman on his recovery drive. And J-Luke takes the lead. Gareth goes wide, tries to retain the lead. Let's go on board with Jamie Wright. He won't like that. Kieran on the inside. He almost spins him. Just about. Oh, Gareth's tyres. Yeah, Kieran just about kept it facing the right way, but Gareth's tyres are very much gone now. And speaking of things that are gone, Jamie Wright hunting down a 20th race win in JACKOCAR. He's got 8 laps to go at the end of this one. And I think we're going to have Jake O'Sullivan make the move very soon. Otherwise, Jamie will run away with this. Gareth will make his 1 mandatory stop. Kieran will complete his strategy, and Casper's in there as well. But here goes Iceman on the back of Connor Byers and down the main straight towards turn 1. Connor's elected to go defensive, and Ben will throw it around the outside on the grippier compound and has the traction on the exit. It's a good move. Connor concedes P3, and Iceman gives us the freeway battle we want for the remaining 7 laps. Yellow flags further back. Is it Michelle? It's Jordan.
Jordan and Ben came together on the apex of turn 2. Very unfortunate contact, and due to the contact model, Jordan got spun around.
And Kyle's missed out as well there. Jess has gone from 15th to 9th in half a lap, by the way. Pete Knighton on his recovery drive is P8. And moving up the field, Michelle, who we think has underfloor damage, is P7. Leroy doing a grand job in P6, on the wrong tyre though, it has to be said. And Ben Harrett back up into the top 5. Let's look at the penalty situation. I don't know where they are. There they are.
It's
10
seconds for Ben and 5 for Kyle.
I do wonder if Ben will argue that he wants some of those removed. They are removable, 5-second intervals. And he is the faster driver versus Connor at the moment. In fact, Connor will not even challenge this. Look, through goes Ben then onto P4. Fresher softs as well. That would be the reason why. No DRS available yet. But, Yuri, it's not going to be a Joker win. But we do have the freeway battle that we have been threatened and threatened and threatened. Round 6 of Season 7. It's set up beautifully.
It is just beyond understanding how these three, no matter what happens, they always tend to fight each other on track somewhere. And it is Jake all over the back of Jamie trying to find a way around. But unless you have like massive overspeed into the chicane, you can't pass there.
Jake's setup as well appears to be the loosest of the three. He's a little sideways out of a few of these corners. How will they play it? That's the thing. Because obviously there's the teammate element up front, and then you've got the team speed element behind. He won't give a damn if he makes a little bit of contact, if for a last lap pass or something like that. Ben Shaw, we have seen him traditionally sit back when two drivers in front fight, as Jamie goes defensive. Look, but this is what we wanted. This is what JACKOCAR's all about. Jamie Wright holds on into turn 1, but like you say, Yuri, the 40 car behind him is very, very close in all the braking zones. Like, he's just leaving a little bit too late. It spells danger. There's yellow flags everywhere, but I think it's for Jamie Griffiths, who keeps on spinning. In fact, he'll sensibly get out of the way here at the exit of 4. I think he's elected to do that too soon. And he will. Look at this. Through they go. 1, 2, 3 of them. Nicely done by Jamie Griffiths. Next up is Ben Spurs. Look at the 3 of them on board this shot. It's like a train.
It's looking very, very good. The thing that is, again, very interesting is that Kajman tends to be a little bit more conservative on his ERS. And I will be expecting that as soon as Jamie runs out of his, he'll be going for the lead.
Yep. It couldn't be set up any better. They're all on 11-lap-old mediums. 5 laps to go. Pick me a winner.
I hate to say it, but it's going to be Kajman.
Okay. Well, here he goes then for the race lead. Then he'll be forced to the outside of turn 1. Jamie Wright leaves him just enough room to get turned in. And as we wait for them to re-show, it's Jamie Wright has actually retained the lead, and Iceman is now right on the back of them.
Yeah, but he is under 10% ERS, so if Jake just gets close up behind Jamie for this lap, he should have him into turn 1 on the next one.
Yeah, there you go. 22 for Jake, 10 for Jamie, and 17 for Ben Shaw, who has a moment. Fastest lap by Pete Knighton. The recovering Pete Knighton down in P15. What a shame it's been for him. Started P2 in this race. He'll go to Belgium next week, hoping to win. Of course, Belgium, Hungary, and Spa. No, Belgium, Hungary, and Italy. Belgium, Hungary, Italy are the 3 races he won in Season 1. And it's Spa next week, so maybe he can come back again and win there. We stay on board with Iceman. There are battles further back. I think this is one of them. Jess, Gareth, and Kieran. Those two still stuck together. Into the top 10 goes Gareth. More yellow flags. It's for Jamie Griffiths, who...
Here goes Jake. He squeezes Jamie a little bit more to the inside this time, and he gets the job done. Around the outside into turn 1.
Yeah.
And on exit, on the traction, he gets the job done.
Easy done then for Jake.
Very Lewis Hamilton-esque. He noticed that the first time he left Jamie a little bit too much space, so he squeezed him a little bit more, made the entry to turn 1 that much tighter, and got the job done on the exit.
Very good at his learning on the fly. He has been the fastest of these three. I mean, obviously, the fastest lap, it's not the fastest lap, the pole position lap was set by Ben. But on race pace, Jake has been the faster driver. Jamie Wright, I think, might have got a little bit lucky with safety cars as we now see Jake start to pull away, but still crucially inside that 1 second DRS window. I think I'm very much on board with you with the Jake winning this race.
And if the ART boys play their cards smart, they'll keep Jamie right behind Jake within that second, so that Ben can't attack.
Good thinking. I'm trying to get you a stat here, but
they don't. Oh, that's a safety car.
That's a safety car. Oh, well then. I take it all back.
This will be out for only this lap, so because 34 and 35 will be on the green, right?
Yeah.
So Leroy, Michel, you might be losing out, fellas. Jordan, you might be losing out.
I'll tell you who isn't losing out. Kyle and Ben Harrett, if they can get those penalties removed. Connor is not in a very good position on the hard tyres, but maybe this is the miracle that Gareth was waiting for.
It'll give him three positions, that for sure. And then on those soft tyres, he might be able to take at least Connor.
Well then.
But you expect this safety car to be out only for one lap. Maybe it's the same as in the last season finale where it'll be out for 2 laps and we only have to get one green lap.
Yep. Took the words right out of my mouth there. Of course, Miami Championship 5 is the one that springs to mind. A race in which Kieran overtook Ben on a last lap pass for the championship. Ben eventually getting passed by Corey and Jake on a penalty. I tell you what, quite a few cars have managed to get to this train. Even Jess is there. And Casper. I was going to say before that safety car, Jake O'Sullivan sits on 4 race wins, Ben Shaw 7, and Jamie Wright 19. That's all time. But could it be somebody else taking the spoils in Hungary? Jake O'Sullivan, he's already done 1 restart today. He has to do another, and he's not hanging about. This is a faster pacey restart than all the others so far. They've all been slow up till now. He wants to get going. It's going to be Jori Haselager. 2 laps to go here in Hungary as Jake gets the field going again. Very quick safety car period. Jamie Wright, though, on the tail. Ben Harrett comes through the middle and around the outside. Can he make it stick? Or is Iceman going to force him wide? Iceman has a moment. It's going to allow Connor to maybe slip through. And through he goes. Iceman losing out. Kyle and Gareth are going to take advantage here as well. But towards the front are ART going to try and do what Speed did for Gareth just last season when they helped Gareth win at Monza. Ben Harry's picked up another penalty. 15 seconds that he'll need to get him removed. Leroy's out of this race, but 5 seconds of that they will not be able to engineer. So maybe it is going to come down to Jake and Jamie. What a shame for Ben Harrett, who's managed to work his way all the way back up to P3. Iceman has recovered to 5th. You expect him to get back past Connor. A lap and a third to go. Kieran is 6th. Gareth has dropped to 11th. It's not going to be the miracle day out that he wanted. Iceman trying to stop ART being 1, 2, 3, 4, something that we've not seen for a very long time. And into the final corner they come. It's going to be 1 lap to go in Hungary. Jake O'Sullivan leads the way by 8 tenths. There's going to be no DRS. The Season 5 champion turning up in Season 7. Can he get it done? And here goes Iceman on the outside of Connor, but Connor's traction was actually fairly good down the inside, and that's a late move from Iceman. However, JACKOCAR rules state you're allowed to be more aggressive on the final lap, so that P4 will stay as his. He will move back up to... Yeah, he will get P3 because of the penalties for Ben Harrett. Ben Harrett's actually going to drop a long way down, probably all the way to P11.
Garrett's driving around without a front wing.
So he is. That is not the fastest way around here. Kyle has found himself in 12th. Pete 13th, also no front wing. MK Bourne.
You know what I think? Garrett liked Vintinho's driving style around Japan. He made a lot of fun of him for always having no front wing, and here you find a wild Garrett copying the likes of Vintinho.
Yeah, but never mind. We'll worry about it after the race, because round the final corner then, Jake O'Sullivan, his 5th career win for the Season 5 champion. He gets it done in Hungary with that last lap safety car, or that final late restart, helping him out there. Jamie Wright, P2. And Iceman,
very
P3.
questionable from Connor across the line.
Connor holding on to P4. And Ben Harrett does cycle all the way down to P11. What a shame for him. Great race. Great first half of the race. And, well, let's not look at that.
Car park on the main straight.
Well, I'll just move away from that. I know VSL have banned such incidents.
Yeah.
Probably for this reason.
If you look at what Connor did, you might disappointment in the race and smashed into the wall, but that could have been a really bad crash with the car so close behind.
He shouldn't be disappointed with P4. That's his Jake O'Sullivan from Jamie Wright and Ben Short. Yuri, I'll hand over to you whilst I get...
Those names were somewhere in the middle of the pack or behind or whatever. I am most certainly very impressed with Jake. Starting P20, he'll join the likes of Arnaud, Khalifa, Corey, and myself, if I'm not forgetting someone else, to go from last to first.
I didn't even notice
which
that.
Is Connor in P4 is also very impressive if you've seen his luck and his results in the past few races that he's attended.
Yep, Kieran recovering
and
to
Jess
P5.
with a very respectable P8.
Indeed, top 10 in JACKOCAR in the Cup Series. Gareth gets back to P9 with no front wing, and Michel Goris rounds out the top 10 there. Incredible stuff. So then, yeah, next week then is Belgium. We return to Spa, a classic in JACKOCAR. And Yuri, perhaps you'll be racing next week, perhaps? I don't know. Maybe maybe
sure,
somebody
if the
drops
option
out.
is there, that I'll pick the track over the booth.
You didn't love it then?
Well, it was okay, but I don't think this is it's not for me.
Not for you. Never mind. Thank you very much for your assistance. And that was round 6 of Hungary, the Cup Series. We are back next week, as I say, in Belgium. More of that, basically. So we'll see you there.